Hi. I want to start with a question for you guys. Raise your hand if you've ever been to a zoo in your lifetime. Awesome. Okay, good audience, good audience. So you've experienced this moment of wonder, of where you realize the world is bigger than you, that it's full of fascinating, amazing animals. You've had this, oh, now I've spoken too fast, this moment of recognition in your favorite zoo, your favorite moment, your favorite animal. You're standing in front of him, you make eye contact with him, and you feel in your heart either fear or hope that he's seen you for who you really are. I know you've had that moment. So take that favorite zoo, take that favorite animal, take that favorite moment, and put it in the path of a Category 5 hurricane. Now, expand your imagination so that you're Larry Rivardi. So Larry Rivardi is the Executive Vice President and Managing Director of the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans. The eve of Hurricane Katrina's landfall, he had 1,500 animals that they just did not have time or equipment to move out of harm's way. As the zoo curator, Dan Maloney, said, we had to stay because the animals couldn't leave. So where do you guys come in? Where does the government come in? Well, this is Larry Rivardi. Okay, not the T-Rex, although I will say he's got a great smile. There he does. And contagious laugh. He's a T-Rex inside, but I'm tired, that's Larry right there. So after carrying a zoo through Katrina, he had a slew of lessons learned in emergency preparedness, response, and resilience for zoos. So what did the government do? The government gave Larry a bullhorn. So in 2008, the USDA, that's the shortening for Department of Agriculture where I work, USDA published a proposed rule called the Contingency Plan Rule, which required all entities regulated under the Animal Welfare Act to have an emergency plan. So that rule has since been finalized, and that's a whole other story. I want to keep you back in 2008 with me and Larry, where the contingency plan regulation, the 2005 hurricane season, and the threat of bird flu kind of spawned the birth of this project. This is my favorite project because it's mine, but this is our public-private partnership with the USDA, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago. So it's been a really prolific partnership. We're still going strong. You can read about all our projects on zooanimalhealthnetwork.org. We call it ZON for short. The flagship project for that partnership was a 14-part free online group of best practice emergency preparedness materials for zoos. Larry was he was our participant that had the most street cred, I'd say, and the best smile. So where do you guys come in? Well, like the federal government, zoos have also really suffered from budget cuts and staff leaving, staff getting furloughed. And so what we realized through this partnership is that the only way that we were going to make an impact is if we stayed together and did this together. Hence the title of my talk, It Takes a Village to Save the Ark. So the private sector can bring the expertise. You know, we got people like Larry Rivardi on these projects. They have the expertise, they have the knowledge base, they have the experience. So I want to talk about what you guys are doing there and what you can do. And I know I'm preaching to the crowd, but I just want to remind you of this message as my parting point, that government can empower others to empower themselves. And I want you to remember this when you're reaching out to the private sector and trying to partner with them. What are you doing at that table? And I repeat, government can empower others to empower themselves. So how do we do this? Well, for one, we've got money, and I know that funding is a laughable word right now, but I know that you guys are able to rub together two dimes and come up with a conference room at the Holiday Inn, or virtual interface software where you can get people together to dream, to think, to talk. The conversation is driven by a sense of importance with you in the room, because you being in the room frames the conversation in the context of statutory authority and regulation. You can speak to authority and confidence of what's required, and just your being there gives them a sense of comfort that you're there to create mutual understanding on mutual expectations. I know that people laugh and they roll their eyes at I'm here for the government, I'm here to help, but they sit up straighter when you're in the room. Your presence, your agency's bumper sticker on their projects gives them a sense of legitimacy and power. And finally, the last thing is, because you're impartial, because you have this kind of you can see the big picture of these projects, and you have the luxury of impartiality, you're not loyal to any party in this room, where was I going with this? You can bring the right people into the room. You can be the bridge between enemies. You can set the common ground from which you can get things done. By your impartiality, your bird's-eye view, you're the glue that holds the project together. So I want to leave you with kind of a picture of what this looks like and what your trickle-down effect is when you empower others to empower themselves. The Thanksgiving weekend after Hurricane Katrina, the Audubon Zoo opened to 60,000 visitors. It was a record weekend for them, including this young lady right here. So, by empowering others to empower yourselves, you can make a difference to this little girl, this sister, this niece, this granddaughter, this daughter. Or maybe she's just a little person inside of you, having her favorite moment with her favorite animal in her favorite zoo. Thank you.